I feel very grateful to be here. The poetry cohort is filled with light. And I'm just grateful to be bathed in it this week. I have 2 poems to share with you all tonight. To my child, can you all hear me okay? Should I? How's that?
Better.
Great. To my child who may never see Syria. I was young like you are young the last time I saw Syria, and I still call it home. Oh child, I will write it down so you may carry it. My child, I am sorry for the burden, but I know you are strong enough to hoist our home on your back and still dance, because you are my blood, my father's blood. My father, who traversed the Atlantic, thought only of his future children, of me, wearing America on my skin like silk. I fear this skin America has given me. I fear I have given my father nothing in return. I wish I could tell you of our people's joy, but these days, just to get out of bed, my heart must peel off its skin, replace it with armor, become a steampunk heart, the warrior I need to turn on Al Jazeera in the morning. I try to focus on the people who rode across water to safety, across water that for a moment was thicker than blood, to arrive in Europe and try to begin again. But today, a little girl took to the canal with what remained of her family. She was strong, of grit, of tongue, of hope, but her body, the water's body, failed her, and she careened down into her first not breath at the start of her not life, and finally she was weightless, finally with the water safe. Who would return if they had a choice? Turn from a cool, dark window, without even a reflection, into the white-hot star of misery and say, yes, this is where I belong. On the hottest nights, I think I hear the adhan, convoluted, mixed with static, and a catchy melody, Nancy Ajram singing of birds and eyes, the frequency unsettled on 2 strains of voice or any others. Like a car radio losing signal, staticking on a highway to nowhere, voices whispering behind the living ones. Words break through a hinting croon until someone turns the dial off. When I wake, I think of the many holy voices. When I wake, I think of you, my child, and fear what it means to forget. I cannot promise you it was just like this, but I promise to try. Everybody we loved was still alive, and the salesman thought I was from Poland or Ireland, tried to sell pashmina in English at an astronomical price to my whiteness. Oh, child, I can't describe the beauty of shock on their faces when I spoke our shared mother tongue. Then they noticed my eyes just like their eyes, just like their son's eyes. They offered the whole shop and all their sheep for their son to marry me. Oh, child, dear heart, I hope you feel desired in your own right. I hope there is always space for every part of you which is misconceived. I hope you will laugh at my disappointment when my father said, they only want you for a green card. I can't admit it to anyone else, but I've made a list of names that might allow you to carry what I carry. Oh, Adira, Akram, Asfur, Asfur, Asfur. Please forgive me for letting the Arabic slip like sauce from my tongue. Forgive me for having so little to offer, for holding out my palms filled with crumbs saying, do you see the city? Do you see the mountain? Do you see the green lights, the lifting dust? My body no longer recalls the hunger, no longer remembers the magnifying glass I kept close to my skin. The fissures where tubes fed me now barely visible pursed mouths. Even I must squint to see years of my life crouched there in the crook of my left elbow. They say our bodies replace themselves every 7 to 10 years with an entirely new set of cells. As if we could lay ourselves down at our own feet to mourn. As if we could shuck skin like a snake, slide away, naked and new, some born-again Eve. The mirrored walls of physical memory must be faulty if we look in and only forget, forget, forget. My body no longer recalls how my mother must have held me. My wrists pudged over my tiny hands as I felt her parts, learned them until I knew we were separate. Her body replaced itself 3 times before I was born. Now, far away, she is still replacing herself and me, while we both grow tired from this constant shifting. Some days, I just want to keep the parts of me that were touched, press them in dictionaries, display them in shadow boxes, sort them out on my kitchen table so I might remember each tiny scar as its rightful fault line. It seems unfair that I didn't stitch each new cell by hand, carry my tired limbs across the threshold, deranged like a well-loved doll. And some days I thank for this blank slate. Feel lightness like a bird who pushes her nest into the river and quickly forgets as she flies off to build anew. Thank you.